Hey everybody, it's Kaylee. We are doing another deep dive today. In today's video, I'm doing a highly requested brand recently, which is Old Navy. You guys know I absolutely love selling Old Navy. It's like a personal win for me whenever I can sell something for a lot higher than most people can, and Old Navy is definitely one of those brands. I asked you guys on Instagram, which by the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, go follow me over there because we ask questions. We talk about some different things over there, which is where this question came from, which was, do you guys want an Old Navy deep dive? Which everybody said yes. Had a lot of responses on that. So we're doing an Old Navy deep dive today. Let's just dive right in. Let's figure out what is selling in this brand that you guys frequently come across all the time. All right, you guys, so we're going to do this deep dive. There is a potential very severe thunderstorm about to roll through Ohio. So if you guys start hearing a torrential downpour, that is what's going on. Bear with me. But we're going to try to get this deep dive done before this happens. We are going to be looking into Old Navy today. And one thing to keep in mind about Old Navy is they do sell a lot of things. So they have men's, women's, and kids. We are just going to search Old Navy and do some filtering, which I think will eliminate a lot of things, but we do want to see if there's something in the men's department that is selling well, that, you know, we don't eliminate those things. So I'm just going to search Old Navy as a whole and hit search. And we're just going to leave it under clothing, shoes, and accessories. Again, you can see they have a lot of different categories here, but I think after some of the filtering that we do, some of the stuff like the kid stuff is probably going to get filtered out. But hey, if there is kid stuff that sells well, then we want to know about those things, right? Got my notebook here and my pen so we can jot down anything that we see that's consistently selling well so that we can check the sell-through rates of it later also. So the first thing we're going to do is take notice of the fact that there is almost 500,000 results for Old Navy, which is pretty insane. I do want to do one thing real quick to filter any potential brands or searches that might not actually be Old Navy. So let's actually filter by Old Navy in the brand section here. And I'm not sure if you guys have been noticing that the eBay search is really messed up, but using the filters can be a great way to narrow some things down. So that's what we're going to do right here. So that brings us actually not that much of a difference, but still about 500,000 available results. We're going to go to, actually, I think we're going to leave the new tags and the pre-owned because we do want to see if the new tag stuff is selling significantly better. That was the case with Chico's. If you guys watched that deep dive that we just did, Chico's new tag stuff sold pretty decently, but the pre-owned stuff not so much. So let's go ahead and leave that, and let's just see what the solds look like as far as sell-through rate as a whole goes. 59,000 sold results. So compared to 500,000, that is, you know, obviously not very much. Let's actually do the math here. 59,000 divided by 430,000. That is about a 14% sell-through rate, so not very high. So your chances of actually picking something up and being able to flip it online, regardless of how much it sells for, is very, very, very low, which is, you know, why this brand is considered oversaturated. Okay, so from here we are going to do some more filtering. Let's start by filtering our minimum. Now I'm going to be kind of generous here because normally I do like $35, but I want to make sure that we leave enough room to find the quick sell-through rate items, because I know Old Navy is not a brand that most people are going to be able to get $35 and up for. So I'm going to change things up a little bit. I'm going to make the minimum $25, which I think is pretty good for Old Navy, especially considering you can get a lot of their stuff brand new in store for $25. So we're going to filter to that. And you can see that brought us down to even more. So in the sold results for $25 and up, our results are only 3,800 results in the last 90 days. So the chances of you selling something for $25 and up in Old Navy, I mean, very minuscule chances, because it's 3,800 in the last 90 days compared to about 500,000 available results. So that's why we want to narrow this down. Before we dive into all of that, I do want to look at the more filters, which is something we frequently do if you're new to these types of videos on my channel. We like to filter and see maybe what sizes are overwhelmingly doing better. It looks like a majority of these items are size 12, so that's a good sign. Size 14, there are a lot of sizes, but overwhelmingly seems to be the larger sizes. Size extra large is a good one, but there are still some in the size small. Going to the color, blue is a very popular color. I think, blue's a pretty popular color in a lot of things right now. Definitely overwhelming majority of the sold results, $25 and up, are blue. Material, we've got a lot of 100% cotton and then a lot of polyester. I'm gonna guess that the fact that the overwhelming majority results are blue and cotton being a heavy hitter, it's gonna be a lot of denim. We can see it's pretty split between the new tags and the pre-owned, so that's a good sign. I think that's enough for the filters. And so from here, what we're going to do is we're just going to scroll through. If there's any factor that consistently stands out, we're definitely going to jot that down, and then we will do a sell-through rate check afterwards. Oftentimes when you're doing research, a lot of people see like this, for example, they're like, okay, here's an Old Navy plaid coat that went for $40, and then they just want to pick up every Old Navy plaid coat that they find, which would not be a good idea. So we want to take that extra step and actually do the sell-through rate checks here in a little bit. I think I changed my mind. I think I'm actually going to filter down to pre-owned, just because most of the time when we're coming across these things at thrift stores, they are going to be pre-owned. But if something is good in pre-owned, it's obviously more than likely going to be good new with tags, right? So just keep that in mind as we're going through. But we kind of already did a check on the filters and saw that there was about half and half mix between pre-owned and new with tags. All right, so I'm filtered to pre-owned now. Let's start checking. Here are two Old Navy dresses, longer length. So I'm going to write that down. Pair of overalls, a set. That's interesting. A belt. Quite a few tops. I'm noticing that all of these are like extra large and up. Here's a Power Soft dress. Old Navy also has like a couple different lines. Power Soft is one of their more popular ones right now. Here's another pair of overalls, so I'm just going to write that down. Here's a vintage Old Navy men's jacket. This is the first men's item that I've seen, so we're going to keep that in mind also. A pair of overalls. Here's a women's army jacket. Maybe I will write that down. More overalls. I am seeing a couple different lots here. I'm going to choose to ignore those. A couple of things I've seen with Y2K, so I'm just going to write that down. There's another women's coat. More overalls. More dresses. Some plus size dresses. Here's a pair of vintage Y2K wide leg men's jeans. Here's another men's vintage jacket. Here's another coat. So I'm actually going to write that down. All the ones I've seen have been women's, like pea coat styles. Denim jackets. More lots, overalls. Here's an interesting one. I was wondering if we were going to come across this. Elena Gilbert's, so like As Seen on TV, this was a Vampire Diaries one. Interesting. I wonder how many times we've all come across this top. I'm going to write that down. I'm just going to put Elena Gilbert. is another one of those belts. I'm gonna write that down. Specifically, this was like a zodiac belt. This is why I love doing these deep dives. Like, I would have never have thought. More dresses. Again, these are almost all of them are extra large or higher. Going to the second page. And we're only a few days back, so I'm doing this video on April 2nd. We're only looking at the solds from March 30th, so we've looked at quite a bit so far. More dresses. All of them seem to be longer length. More overalls. Old Navy shoes. I didn't even know Old Navy made men's shoes. It's interesting. More denim lots. Here's another vintage Old Navy. So vintage Y2K definitely keeps popping up. More Y2K. I'm kind of passing over these ones that I see that were listed for $25, but a best offer was accepted because that means it sold for less than $25. This is kind of an interesting concept. I'm actually going to write down bundle because I'm just interested to see what the sell-through rate of Old Navy bundles are. Here is just a size large, kind of like knee or above knee length dress. That went for $25. More longer length dresses, lots of longer length dresses. Another Old Navy coat. Here is a set. More Y2K vintage. Overalls. Here's another one that oh no, it does say maxi dress. $40 for that one. That's awesome. I'm starting to feel like I'm seeing the same things. Here's another coat. So I think we are going to stop in just a moment, and then we'll do our sell-through rate checks. Here's this. If you guys didn't see this, I just posted about this on Instagram as well. This is an Old Navy boyfriend shirt. Specifically this colorway, if you can find it, is a lookalike for the Evermore Taylor Swift flannel. And they have a really great sell-through rate. And I just found one. I'm probably going to list mine for about $40, which is crazy for pre-owned Old Navy. So specifically this is a bolo. So keep your eye out for that for sure. All right, we are at the end of page 3 and I'm starting to see like the exact same stuff. So I think we are pretty good. One more thing before we do sell-through rate checks. I do want to filter to the highest first because I think it's just fun to see if there's any like crazy bolos to look for. Okay, this has to be a joke. There's that Elena Gilbert one that we saw. These are a bunch of lots. That's not Old Navy. Yep. Some poor soul listed a spell on the gypsy under the wrong drop down. Old Navy plus size toggle coat. Most of the stuff seems to be lots. and some vintage like Y2K stuff. All right, so from here, we are going to start going through the things that we have written down. Let's start with the fun one, which is Old Navy Elena Gilbert. Just see how many of these are actually here. Yeah, appears to be the only one sold. So that one's pretty rare. I'm just going to search Old Navy as seen on. One result. Yeah, it's mostly just that Taylor Swift one. Let's next look up Old Navy bundle. $147 available. 16 sold. Let's change this to lot. 525 available. 128. So not the best sell-through rate, but honestly, if you were somebody shopping at the bins and you wanted to bundle stuff up, particularly probably in larger sizes, and you could find enough of it, I bet you could make some decent money off of some Old Navy bundles. Oh, that's crazy. Look at that one. Tara and Sky lot, 10 of them, $63. All right, next up, this one's probably going to be the heavy hitter because we saw a lot of this. Old Navy dresses. Remember, we're still filtered to over $25. Looks like I need to refilter to pre-owned. So $2,900 available pre-owned and over $25. Only 238. But as you guys can see, almost all of them are that longer length. Let's just do a little test and do Old Navy maxi dress size extra extra large. 20 sold for over $25 pre-owned, 45. So about a 50% sell-through rate, which by the way is really, really good for Old Navy. But maxi dresses in a size XXL definitely significantly increased value. Let's change this to midi, see if that makes a difference. Keeps kicking me out of the used here. Pre-owned over $25 and the Old Navy midi dresses size XXL, 56. 12, so not the best. Definitely maxi dresses is where it's at. Let's try for 2X. 19 sold, 78 available. For Old Navy dress maxi in a size 2X, 21 available pre-owned over 25. And 11, again, about a 50% sell-through rate. So definitely the maxi dresses are bringing in a lot more sales, and you can see they're all kind of that same aesthetic. They're like that peasanty, boho, somewhat oversized. Sometimes they have the puff sleeves, cottage core, sometimes tiered, but they're all seeming to have about that same look to them. So definitely want to look for those aesthetics. And just for fun, I searched Old Navy dress, no size included, over $25 pre-owned, and in the solds, let's go to the highest. Again, these ones don't count. But you can see the aesthetics that are selling more than others. You can just see how some aesthetics really pull a sale through regardless of brand, like this prairie cottagecore dress. Larger size, Hawaiian. Seen a couple athletic wear dresses also. Really pretty boho one. So it definitely seems like it's all about the aesthetic and really pulling in and tying those together in your title. All right, next up, let's do the Old Navy overalls. Pre-owned over $25. We have 347 available results. 136. So again, a little under a 50% sell-through rate, but for Old Navy pre-owned items, like that's really good. So you can see a lot of them are the like blue denim. A lot of people are using Y2K and baggy in their titles. Skater would be another good keyword. The ones that are going for more are definitely the vintage Y2K baggy ones. I say overalls in general as a category, regardless of brand, are something I would definitely keep my eye out for. Here's somebody even used the keyword granola. So I would say dresses and overalls, definitely keep your eye out for. Denim overalls, that is. Next we saw a lot of army jackets, so I just want to give that a search real quick. So in the pre-owned available over $25, we have 139 results. And only 39 sold. Again, not terrible for Old Navy, so maybe a category you want to look for. I would say probably be careful on this one because we are moving into warmer weather and people probably aren't going to be wearing jackets. A lot of these sold back in February. And just a search term I wanted to look up was the Old Navy Y2K because we saw a lot of those selling. Pre-owned over $25 with Y2K included in the search, 1,000 plus available results. 302, so about a 30% sell-through rate, not bad. You guys can see the kind of things that are selling. So if you do have a vintage Old Navy and you can spin it as a Y2K style, especially like cargo pants, really trendy right now, again with the keyword baggy. Another cargo Y2K, baggy carpenter jeans. Here's a little pleated skirt. So yeah, definitely a theme going with a vintage Y2K and baggy denim in Old Navy. There were some Old Navy pea coats, but I think it's going to be similar to the army jacket. I think they're going out of season, so I'm going to skip that. But the last one I wanted to look up were the belts. So pre-owned over $25, we have 1,100 results listed. Let's go to the solds. 70. So not good. However, this Zodiac one kept popping up, so I would definitely keep your eye out if you see these. It looks like there's, one for every single astrology sign. This one's Libra, this one's Aries. So definitely seems to be a more rare one. There's only one available and 2 sold, so keep your eyes out if you guys see an Old Navy astrology belt. All right, so for the Old Navy deep dive, after we went through all the sell-through rates, what I have listed is, first of all, let's hope one day one of us can find that Elena Gilbert Vampire Diaries one, that little red top. I'm going to keep my eye out for that. But besides that one, which seems pretty rare, we're looking for longer length dresses, particularly the maxi length in larger sizes with that boho, cottagecore, prairie looking style. All those keywords, if they're applicable, will definitely help to sell your listing. And then the denim overalls was definitely another heavy hitter, and anything that you can spin as Y2K vintage, things like the cargo pants, we saw a little mini skirt and a lot of overalls that fit that category, also using the keywords baggy, skater, things like that, again only if they're applicable. And then lastly was that really random astrology belt. If you guys see that, include the keywords astrology and zodiac, and I definitely think it will sell. It seems to be another rare one. Okay guys, I had to come back on because I was fascinated by the Elena Gilbert red top, so I had to make sure that I knew exactly what I was looking for. And so I went on to Poshmark because they hold a lot more solds for a longer time than eBay does, and there's actually quite a few Old Navy stuff that were like as seen on TV. So you can see here's that red top again selling for quite a bit. Some people are selling like the same style but alternative colors, so just keep that in mind. But one that I found was like just this tank top, so definitely some more you guys can look for, and I think they're really good to know. And here on the screen are just a few of my Old Navy sales that I recently had on eBay. Alright guys, so that's it for the Old Navy deep dive. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a comment down below. Let me know if you learned a little bit. Do you guys come across Old Navy pretty often? I feel like I can't go into any thrift stores in my area without coming across Old Navy. I personally love wearing it. I think it is super affordable and I think that it is long lasting. If you guys have any requests for some other brands you want me to deep dive, drop them in the comments down below as well. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.